What's up, dude? It worked.
Here we go. Ready? Alexa, stop. Yo.
Oh, you got Alexa?
Yeah, I got an Alexa.
Oh, what?
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
What?
I said, hi, everybody.
All right, everyone that was just asking. If anyone was, I might be overexcited about it. That is Nathan Kim's new song, Escape. His name is Natik, Natik, on Spotify. I recommend checking it out, because Alexa, play. It's a lot of fun.
Oh.
Right? It's a really good vibe. All right, Alexa, stop. Isn't that fun?
That's a really good song.
All right, so let's get right to it. Sorry, guys, I'm currently in the middle of eating my breakfast, so I hope you guys don't mind. Yes, it's noon. Yes, I'm eating breakfast. Deal with it. Having cold coffee.
Intermittent fasting.
I'd like to announce, for any of you that don't know, the handsome man that is currently below me. His name is Jordan Joseph Morello.
Thank you so much.
I almost said Anthony.
I know. I heard the hesitation in your voice. I was like,
Jordan Joseph Morello is my best friend. My best friend since we were 2 years old. It's about 23 years now. We're both turning 25 soon. It's kind of scary. We're not going to talk about it. Jordan is going to be here to talk about Tuesdays with Maury. Also, yesterday or 3 days ago, he put out a challenge for all of us. Well, to me, so naturally that means all of you as well. And so we're going to start this live with a very new thing. It's our 20 push-ups that we're going to do. Because what we do is we do 25 push-ups as many times as we can throughout the day. And then slowly you realize, oh my God, I've done way more than 100. Mm-hmm. So sorry, that was Dom just called me, actually. I'll have to text him. So everyone, we're gonna do push-ups together. Jordan's gonna do it too.
oh yeah, here we go. Let me,
so here we go.
All right,
ready?
I think they keep it. Oh, you can do it that way. Oh, nice. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
All right. 30.
What are you at?
10.
Is everybody doing their push-ups?
I hope so.
Yo, why are you breathing so hard?
Because I'm using parallettes. What are you using?
Oh,
the ground.
Damn, are you? I'm inverted. My feet are like 6 feet off the ground.
So are mine. Mine were on a chair. I'm going to show you guys my setup for push-ups.
Put mine on the wall. I was doing
my parallettes and my little chair.
So 100 push-ups throughout the day.
If you do that at least 4 times, you do 100 push-ups. It's really easy. I actually have to go to the gym later, too. All right.
I got the blood flowing.
So one thing I wanted Jordan to talk about, because he had brought it up to me when we were talking about our goals for the coming year. That's something Jordan and I do as best friends. We talk about stuff like that. We see how we can help each other, how we can push each other, how we can build each other up. Wow, I'm way too out of breath after those push-ups.
Take a second. Take a breath, man. Take a breath.
We try to see how we can build each other up. So Jordan told me that instead of making New Year's resolutions, he makes a goal sheet. And I wanted him to talk about what that was, how he creates it, and how that has proven to benefit him rather than resolutions. Remember, resolutions only work if they work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things Jordan's going to talk about. So go for it.
So every year, I'll buy a notebook. So I get a new notebook, and in this notebook, I write down my goals. So that way, whenever I hit something, it could be a daily goal, and I use this as a journal. It could be a daily goal, it could be a weekly goal, and then I have my monthly and my year-long goals. So I make sure that I can check those off.
Wait,
the
so
year
clear it up. How many sets of goals do you have at one
I
time?
have four.
Four.
So
Is
I
everyone
have
listening?
I have
Four
my
sets of
daily
goals.
goals. So I have 4 goals. I have my daily goals, I have my weekly goals, monthly, and then I have my long-term goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my daily goals are not even big goals. So that could be me as small as like making my bed every morning or saying that I'm going to keep my apartment clean today. You know, whatever it is that's bettering myself for tomorrow. So it could be, you know what, I don't feel like working out. Like yesterday, I did not feel like working. I could not dig deep down enough to get the motivation to go work out. So I hated it. I just couldn't do it. So yesterday, my goal was to get through that workout, do it as best as I can, and then the next day, you know, feeling better, I would feel good. You know, I would better myself for the next day. So usually it's daily, weekly, monthly, and then so a whole long-term goal. So yeah, it's pretty much like a habit tracker. So this is what I keep. I keep a notebook because I like to write things down. I don't really like technology. I try to stay away from it because I don't know. I don't pay attention as much. I'm somebody that gets very distracted easily. And with a goal sheet, something I can see that's tangible and I can write down, I follow it easier. And that way, like, it's the subtle, it's the knowing of me being able to put a check mark next to it that it feels like it's accomplished. You know what I mean? So, like, I'll write something down, say, all right, I got to go do my laundry later. And then after I do the laundry, I come home like, yes, check mark. It feels good to put that check instead of just clicking on your phone. You know what I mean? So that's the one thing that I like to follow. It's something tangible, something that I can write down. 'Cause, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like technology kind of takes away from that. But yeah, trying to think what else I can go into with these habits and these goals. What other questions should we ask?
I will say that for me, having something tangible to check off really helps. It like really makes it like, oh, this is awesome. I just like, and then at the end of the day, when you have a checklist of things that you've done, it feels really good.
Right. And like, even in school, like, or if you're learning something new, like, don't you like to write something down more than just like, typing it? Or, you know, I learn it better. So for me, writing things down is the most, I don't know, it helps me the most, I guess. But resolutions, I never stick to resolutions. I haven't. It's like same thing with Lent. I don't know if that makes me a bad Catholic. I'm sorry, but I don't stick to them. Like every year, I'm like, I'm gonna eat less chocolate, but like I do it and I eat chocolate. So those never work for me. So then I feel unaccomplished and I feel bad about myself. So that's why I hold myself accountable to goals because they're things that I can actually accomplish.
Yeah, like I saw someone saying they tried keeping in the comments here. Someone's like, I tried keeping a journal, but I failed in the first 3 days. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. You should just say, in the first 7, I didn't fully succeed.
Right.
Not that I failed. You'd be like, all right, this first week, 3 out of 7 days, I didn't journal. Okay, so next week, let's try to make it 4, or at least keep it 3, right? And then slowly you can build yourself up like that, so it's not like you didn't accomplish something. It's almost like you just haven't done it yet.
Right. I posted a quote recently that was, fail early, fail often, but fail forward. So even if you fail, if you think you fail in the first 3 days, it's not a failure. You just haven't gotten there yet. It might take a little bit more time to get to where you want to be. Especially some of the goals that I have in here. You know, like I'm scared that I might not hit them, or you know, maybe I won't accomplish them in a week. But I'll be damned if I don't keep trying and put the effort in and get there in a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months, maybe it takes me a whole year. But I'm gonna check off everything I have in here. So it's not. It might not happen overnight or in 3 days, 4 days, but definitely just keep going and put the effort in because that's one thing that you can control.
Like, I'll tell you guys, I told you I was going to do more running this year than I did last year. I want to become a runner. As of right now, I still have only run once. That's still one more time than I ran last year.
And he's got to get
I still only run once.
1,009 miles. You have 1,006 more miles to run.
I have 1,006 more miles to go. So that's the way I see it. Like, I have a goal number I have to get to. But it doesn't mean I have to crush myself when I can't or when I don't want to do it. It's when I'm motivated and I motivate myself. And that's how you can motivate yourself that way, by being like, all right, you don't have to run 4 miles today. But that means you have to run 5 miles tomorrow and 6 miles on Saturday. And I'd be like, all right, let's do it. I mean, it's embrace the suck.
And the good embrace the suck. But a good thing is that you have somebody there to hold you accountable. And that's something that everybody should try to grab onto, is somebody that is very supportive of your goals or your resolutions or your dreams, because you have your dad. Your dad's running 1,009 miles with you, so that way you guys total 2018. So if you have your dad to hold you accountable, and you know as a man that you can't let your dad down. You can't let the general down.
I can't let the general down.
Yeah, you can't let him down. So I think everybody should really, surround themselves with like-minded people that are doing the same kind of goals or same things, and truly hone in on those people, because those are the ones that uplift you and help motivate you to get to where you want to be. So that's it.
Someone asked me what I'm doing for vacation. I didn't earn vacation this year, so I didn't take one. I'm going to take one later. I didn't earn one yet. So I'm not going to take one. I'm hanging out. I was with Diego. So you guys know, we have our first picture lock for I don't know if Diego wants me to say this. Yes, who just said David Goggins? How do you know? Love David Goggins.
David Goggins.
Someone just brought him up. All right, but yeah, Diego and our other editor Nick, they just were here and they just finished the first cut of American Identity documentary of my American Identity project. I'll tell you this, it looks really good. I got really emotional watching it because it brings up a lot of topics and it's interesting, and the way they put it together, I'm very excited to see them finalize it. Jordan's going to get to see the next cut. I also left a little present with Diego for Jordan when he gets to LA.
What?
Yeah, no. So we'll see how he likes it. So now,
buddy,
Jordan, if you don't mind, we're going to talk about the reason we're all here. I know it's been a bit. It's Tuesdays with Maury, the book that Jordan's had this whole time.
You didn't know that, did you?
So, we're going to talk about Tuesdays with Maury. We're going to talk about the first 113 pages, which are up to the end of the 6th Sunday. And the 6th Sunday is the Sunday that they talk about emotions. Before then, let's talk about this, the beginning of the book, how we're introduced. And I'm going to read the first page because someone said it brought them to tears. I'm just going to read the first paragraph. Or the first two, whenever I feel like I should stop. The last class of my old professor's life took place once a week in his house, by a window in the study where he could watch a small hibiscus plant shed its pink leaves. The class met on Tuesdays. It began after breakfast. The subject was the meaning of life. It was taught from experience. No grades were given, but there were oral exams each week. You were expected to respond to questions, and you were expected to pose questions of your own. You were also required to perform physical tasks now and then, such as lifting the professor's head to a comfortable spot on the pillow, or placing his glasses on the bridge of his nose. Kissing him goodbye earned you extra credit. No books were required, yet many topics were covered, including love, work, community, family, aging, forgiveness, and finally death. The last lecture was brief, only a few words. A funeral was held in lieu of graduation, and although no final exam was given, you were expected to produce a long paper on what was learned. The paper is presented here. The last class of my old professor's life had only one student. I was the student. I think that's a really cool way to start the book, because in that, he's kind of saying, I took this class already. Now you're about to too. You're about to be the student in this journey. And the best part is you're going to see two people go through it. And in that, you'll go through it yourself. I think it's really cool. All right, so I'm going to start reading some comments. The second I read the synopsis, I knew this would be my favorite book. It is so emotional. It brought me to tears several times, and we're barely in the first 100 pages. Tears prick in the eyes. The book is so great, so moving. I often had to cry, and yet something so good about it. It's instructive. It shows you sometimes you should escape your everyday life and just become human. Isn't that crazy? That's an awesome sentiment, that you can escape this life where we're expected to act like Greek gods, and you could just do the one thing we're going to do regardless, and that's be human. What's the name of the book again? The name of the book is Tuesdays with Maury.
That's the whole book in perfect way.
Powerful. The first paragraph. I love it. I believe the first 3 pages set the tone for the whole book in the perfect way. Alexandra Fontes, please explain that, because I totally agree. There's something about it. I think Mitch Albom does that, because he wants to make you aware that at the beginning of this process, when he was first starting to just meet with Maury, it came from a place out of guilt. It came from a place of guilt. Him being like, oh my God, that was my favorite teacher in college, and I literally didn't do the one thing I promised I should say hi. And then in that, he found that this professor who had taught him so much still had so much more to teach him. And he, as a young man, 37, not too young but not old at all, still had so much to learn. And there's an awareness in that I think is super important for all of us to jump onto, that idea that even at 37, when he found himself successful, he was still jumping in and learning. Jordan, if you read any questions that you want to ask, or feel free to just toss them.
Did you see the quote?
No.
This quote, accept what you are able to do and what you are not able to do. So it really helped me because I'm constantly tearing myself down because of what I cannot do.
What you cannot do yet.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's something that I learned in acting class. At NYU, we had this teacher who, there are moments when you had to be very honest with your scene partner. Honest to the point where you would never say these words to other people. Like, I hate you. Like, go yourself. Like, things like that. You would never do that with such like a violence. But in class, you'd get to these points where you felt that way. So the teacher always told us to be like, say right now. Because you don't hate this person. You hate them right now. Mm-hmm. You don't want this person to go kill themselves. Just, you want that right now. And that's okay. It's a completely honest feeling. Just know that it's only honest in this moment. Because the minute you take yourself out of the moment, then you'll realize, I don't want that from that person. I love that person. They were just helping me become a better actor today. And our scene work took us to this place. So I think the same definitely goes for, I haven't succeeded. No. You haven't succeeded yet. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the biggest distinctions in learning. We have this huge pressure on getting things and achieving things. And the amount of time in which we do it is impressive. If we do it in no, screw all of that.
Right.
If you haven't achieved your goals, you just haven't achieved them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not you will never achieve them. And that's something that I think Maury kind of touches on in the book in different ways. And I think it's a very important way to look at things. It hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Do I read more at night or during the day? Jordan, when you read, do you read more at night or during the day?
At night. If I read, it's at night. Do you read
when I can.
When you can?
I read when I can.
I don't do it during the day usually. I can't sit down and just like sit in hole and read a book. I can't do it, you know it.
It's almost like a form of meditation, reading a book.
Huh?
It's very meditative. It's like a form of meditation, teaching yourself to be able to sit still and read. I'm very bad at it too, but I read throughout the day.
Yeah, I'm still learning that because it's so hard. I feel antsy. Like I got to get up and do something.
I know that one of the things that I do.
Uh-oh.
Am I good?
Yeah, we're good.
Sorry. I just cursed.
One of the things what?
One of the things I do is I like to wake up earlier now and read in the morning with like a cup of coffee.
See, that's probably a lot easier.
It helps because you have the coffee to kind of start stimulating you, and you start reading. I start by reading out loud, and then eventually that goes into like my own head. Like when I get tired of reading out loud, it'll just go straight back.
Right. See, because I read at night, and I'm like 3 pages in, and then all of a sudden the book's on my face, and I'm asleep.
That's why I can't read at night, because I will fall asleep. But sometimes I do that on purpose. I read myself to sleep.
Yeah. That's exactly what I do.
What was I going to tell you guys? There's a book that I'm going to read soon that I wanted to... Oh! Meditations on Life by Marcus Aurelius. That's in the mail. I'm going to start reading that. I think, Jordan, you and I should read that together for sure.
I've heard good things about that book.
It's a good one. So we're going to open it up to quotes. Jordan and I are going to read your quotes. Jordan will read one, and I'll read another, and we'll just go back and forth. As we read, in the first 113 pages, what are things that Maury said that struck you? Okay, go for it.
My favorite quote, I have the most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and let it in. The great quote.
I think that's actually one of the most important quotes in the book. Because it is one of the most important things about life, how to give out love and how to let it in. I recently saw this YouTube page, or not YouTube page, it was on Facebook, and it was a YouTube video of a person talking about things that are wrong with people right now.
Right.
Specifically, this idea that, like, I need this, I need love, I need friendship, I need all these things in order to be who I want to be, in order to grow as a person. But he's like, but that's putting the onus on other people. That means you need them to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they can choose not to. So he goes, so instead of saying, I need friendship, give friendship. No one can stop you from giving. No one can say, hey, stop being such a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you'll feel fulfilled because in giving that friendship, people will want to give it back.
Right.
And if they don't, then you know they're not worth. That's not something that they want. And you could just say, okay, cool, I'm not going to give that to you anymore. I'm going to give you time and space. So it's one of those really interesting concepts. Like if you want, it's the same thing I say when the student goes to the master and says, Master, what do I do? I'm unmotivated. I'm uninspired. And the master says, okay, go inspire others. Because in there, you'll find that inspiration again.
Right.
It's that same thing. It's like, all right, well, if I need more love, I'm going to go give more love. Because no one can stop me from giving love. No one can hold back myself from giving friendship, from giving love, from giving hard work, from giving all these things that I want. If I give them, no one can stop me. So that's I think an interesting idea there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear what else. I don't have a quote in English, but the one that really strikes me was when Maury said that dying was indeed sad, but living a life where you're sad is way worse. I think I wrote that down.
Damn, there's so many good quotes here.
Okay, I found the quote. It says, I'm going to read the paragraphs too, so you guys kind of have this. It says, for a while we just ate like that. A sick old man, a healthy younger man, both absorbing the quiet of the room. I would say it was an embarrassed silence, but I seemed to be the only one embarrassed. Dying, Maury suddenly said, is only one thing to be sad over, Mitch. Living unhappily is something else. So many of the people who come to visit me are unhappy. Why, Maury? Well, for one thing, the culture we have does not make people feel good about themselves. We're teaching the wrong things. And you have to be strong enough to say that if the culture doesn't work, don't buy it. Create your own. And that's, I think, what I was just kind of saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jordan and I don't know if I'm speaking for both of us here, but I think that's what we do with each other. We're not going to be what people allow or accept. We're going to be what we think people deserve. Now, there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
There's what's the minimum people are willing to accept. That's bullshit, if you ask me. Instead, be the person and give what you think everyone should deserve, and then you'll see a complete difference in the way people treat you and the way you treat the world and the way you see things. And that's what I think we've kind of done with each other. We don't treat I know that Jordan's, a nice guy, so he'll accept this bare minimum from me. No. I'm going to say Jordan deserves at least this much from me as a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try my best to at least give that, if not more. Let's read more quotes. Life is a boxing match. Who wins? Love wins. Love always wins.
I love that quote.
That reminds me of I'm sorry, this is going to remind me of a lot of stories because I feel like that's what Tuesdays with Maury does. To me, it reminds me of all the times I've sat down with older men and women that I am inspired by, that I love, and that I respect and I emulate in a way. And it reminds me of all the things they've told me over time. I read a story recently online where it was about a grandfather and a grandson, and or father and son. And the father is teaching his son about the ways of life. And he goes, son, within every person there are two wolves, the good wolf and the bad wolf. And they're always fighting. And they're always fighting for dominance over the being, over you, the good wolf or the bad wolf. And it's an epic fight that will never stop. So the son goes, it'll never stop. Well, which wolf wins? And the father says, the one you feed. That's kind of that same thing, Okay. Yes, this book is a constant reminder of our own life and how we live, in my opinion. Yes, you've heard that story too. Love is strength. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry you have to get going, Alley Rock. Thanks for staying as long as you could. The most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and let it come in. Let it come in. We think we don't deserve love. We think if we let it in, we'll become too soft. How do you feel about that, Jordan?
Say that again.
And yes,
Sorry,
I probably
my
already told this story, guys. So how do you feel about that? That we think we don't deserve love. We think. Sorry, guys. Dom keeps trying to call me. We're supposed to get lunch today, but he knows I'm on the live. He knows I'm on the live. I have to call him back in a little bit because we're going to the gym later.
Say that again.
It's just about like we think that if we let love in, we'll become soft
Mm-hmm.
and we'll become weak. But I don't. I refuse to believe that because the soldier does not fight for what he sees in front. He fights to protect himself from what's behind him.
Right.
You know, it's that love that allows him to sacrifice his life. It's
Right.
that love that allows that teacher to spend that extra hour with you studying. It's that love that allows your best friend to sit there and let you ugly cry in their arms.
Ugly cry.
The loving relationships we have, the universe around us, we take these things for granted. Maury says that the world and people in it are too materialistic. So I'm going to ask you guys that, and Jordan's going to answer it. Jordan, how do you feel about materialism in our current world? Like, do you feel like people are too materialistic? And then I'm going to read some responses after you talk.
Absolutely. I think everybody is, especially here in LA, this whole city is just very materialistic. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm not somebody that believes in, buying happiness and gaining happiness from materialistic things. I feel like a lot of people have reverted just to buying things for their happiness, and people forget how to smile anymore. You walk around and these people have so much in their lives. They have all the money in the world. They have all the clothes, all the cars, everything that they can ever imagine, but they're still walking around with these long faces. And, it's kind of sad because you don't really see a genuine smile anymore. And I feel like people are going back and forgetting how to live, for happiness, for their family, for their friends, for memories, instead of just buying materialistic things and, just being in it for the goods. I think it's just sad what's going on, and I think that we need to get back to, sharing a good moment with a friend, a family member, and sharing a good memory with somebody. I think it's just become too materialistic.
So there's a quote that I want to bring up right now. Anna Cat Fernandez, killing it with the quotes again. She brought up a quote that says, "The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others. Devote yourself to your community around you, and devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning."
Being of service to somebody else, man.
Being of service to your community. Remember, we talked about that a couple weeks ago after I had the Christmas tree lighting at my dad's base. That general said to Tecumseh, he counsels us not to live a long and prosperous life, but to live a long and good life in the service of your people. Because that's where you find meaning. And I think that's a very interesting thing. And in the service of your people doesn't mean, I think as an artist, I work in the service of our people, but I'm also in the service of myself. What do I want people to see the way I see? How do I learn more about the world? But I'm doing that so hopefully my art can teach others the same. Or they can see more through me and therefore open what they expect or open what they see as human. Jordan devotes himself to his community in that he believes that a more physically active, more healthier community, like a healthier community, will be a better community, a community that is in touch with one's body, because then you understand the perils of other people that don't have the same strength.
Well, you understand the mind-body connection. That was what your whole Anchors episode was on.
That's it's such an important connection, and that's what you've devoted yourself to, is helping other people realize that connection. Because you saw the power in realizing it in yourself.
Right.
And I think that's such an important thing that Maury talks about a lot, and Mitch brings it up, Maury's connection to his community. And how he created rules for himself to live. He didn't live within everyone else's rules. My favorite thing, I want to go do that. I want to find like a dance hall church and just go dance with a towel around my neck for hours. Like Maury used to. I just want to do that. Okay, I agree with Jordan. Hold on, let me scroll down to the bottom. Sorry, guys. Guys, I think that with Anchors, you do what Maury did with Album. You inspire all of us. Thank you thanks to you, we believe in our dreams. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
What other quotes do we got? I'm going to read another part that I wanted to bring up if I haven't brought it up yet, because I had it underlined. All right. I do want to talk about this one line that takes up a whole page. And I know why it takes up a whole page. It's so important. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Henry Adams said that. And I think everyone has this idea that a teacher has to be the person that keeps you in a classroom for 9 hours, you know? No, a teacher is anyone that gives you the opportunity to learn. So I think you guys should all be aware of how often in your lives you can be a teacher. Because you never know where your influence ends. Niner girl 6 knows exactly what I'm talking about. Being a teacher, she knows that she will never know how awesome she is to these students. You know, for them it's a year in her life. For her it's a year in her life. She meets hundreds of students, I'm assuming. I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn. But
the influence.
You never know that one lesson that you taught, that one thing that you happen to do when someone gets mad at you in the street, and instead of yelling back, you kind of just smile and you let that person go, and someone goes, why didn't you yell? Because, you know, maybe they're having a hard day. And then that other person says, wow, next time someone does that to me, maybe I shouldn't yell. Maybe I should take in what their day might be like, you know?
Right.
Allow yourself to be a teacher, and you will be surprised by how much your influence really affects people and how much you feel it, and then how much you allow yourself to learn the minute you decide to see yourself as a teacher too.
Somebody just said some of the most influential people in their life are professors. I mean, did you have some of those in NYU that you still look up to this day?
I know that my acting teachers still sit on my shoulders every day. Mm-hmm. Is this as far as you can go? Can you do more? Can you ask more questions? Can you work harder? Because that was what happened in school. They were like, great, you did this. We expected this.
Right.
Okay, great, you did this. But now that you kind of had that time to learn, we expected this.
Right.
You know, the bar for them was never met. It was always like, all right, you can do what we ask of you, but can you do more? Because that's what pushes you to, you know, it was, yeah, so I always feel them here as those things. But my biggest teacher in my life has been my parents, you know, my mom and dad. And they're always on my dad is always there with his stories and his little ideas and his Cuban sayings. And my mom is always there with her unquestioning and ever solid just understanding of what's right and wrong. Mm-hmm. So yeah, those teachers never leave me. And I don't think they ever do. And Matt 76, you're right, Jordan is quite dreamy.
Oh, stop. I wanted to read somebody's quote. They said to read.
Go for it.
It was on page 43. It's kind of long, but it says, so many people walk around with a meaningless life. They seem half asleep, even when they're busy doing things that they think are important. This is because they're chasing the wrong things. The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others, devote yourself to your community around you, and devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. So, for me, I mean, I think that's one of the most important quotes in my life. You know, I want to influence the world or whoever I can, especially in the fitness and health industry, you know. And if I can be of service of anybody, you know, somebody taught me recently was being of service of others. You know, if you don't have something to do that day and you feel like you can't work on your craft or you can't, you know, excel and keep going, or you can't work on your certain, you know, your goal, be of service of somebody else. Help somebody else. If they need a helping hand, you know, if your friend needs I don't know, a favor, or even you see somebody on the street that needs help, be of service of them and devote yourself to creating that and creating something beautiful with somebody. You know, I just realized that recently, being of service, and I think about that every day now, and that helps me throughout my day. It's like the same thing in The Alchemist, you know, coming to your personal legend. But I don't know, how do you feel about that quote? Like, especially being of service of somebody else. You ever,
Okay, hold on. Someone said, being a nurse, you are present for the hardest parts of people's lives. I have never heard a single one complain that they missed out on buying something, but they all wish they had given more love.
it goes out. Yes. Yeah. Working.
I think that's super interesting.
Wolf story. Oh, dude, somebody's grandmom told them the wolf story.
So once again, I dive into my work. I worked because I could control it. I really connected this line since I do this a lot when things are getting out of control in my school life. I understand that because I've done that. Just like after a breakup, I just dive into the gym. Like Jordan knows that. Like that, but it gives you something that you can control, so that you can handle the things you can't. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But it's being aware of what you're doing and why you're using it. I think that's something that awareness always helps. If you really want it, then you'll make your dream happen. Wasn't that from The Alchemist?
It sounds a lot like The Alchemist, but...
Let me see what else we can read from the quotes here. It might be. I don't... it sounds more like The Alchemist in this book. I don't remember reading that.
Yeah.
But I could just have missed over it. Okay. There's one moment that I really want to talk about. I know we have somewhere between like 15 and 20 minutes left at this point. It's right after the teacher thing is. It's on page 84. I'm going to read the part.
Do it. 84.
Okay. Mitch, Maury said, laughing, even I don't know what spiritual development really means. But I do know more. I do know we're deficient in some way. We're too involved in materialistic things, and they don't satisfy us. The loving relationships we have, the universe around us, we take these things for granted. He nodded toward the window with the sunshine streaming in. You see that? You go out there, outside, anytime. You can run up and down the block and go crazy. I can't do that. I can't go out. I can't run. I can't be out there without the fear of getting sick. But you know what? I appreciate that window more than you do. Appreciate it. Yes, I look out that window every day. I notice the change in the trees, how strong the wind is blowing. It's as if I can see time actually passing through that window pane. Because I know my time is almost done, I'm drawn to nature like I'm seeing it for the first time. He stopped, and for a moment, we both just looked out the window. I tried to see what he saw. I tried to see time and seasons, my life passing in slow motion. Maury dropped his head slightly and curled it towards his shoulder. Is it today, little bird? He asked. Is it today? I love that scene, but it's interesting that only when Maury knows it's the last window that he'll look out of does he start to appreciate the window. And I'm curious, like, is there a way that us as people that are, as of right now, some of us, not all of us, some of us are not in that position where we're looking out the last window, or at least we're not aware of it. How do we have that same appreciation of the window? Because I think that's something, there's something else that he's alluding to there. Each person has a different window through which they see life. And that's what my thing is wanting to be an actor, was I want to see through as many different pairs of eyes as possible. Mm-hmm. I want to look through as many windows as possible. If you put humanity in a house, each person has a different window, how to look out of it. And I want to stand behind as many people's windows as possible. So I think part of the journey is learning to appreciate your window. All of its cracks, all of the dirt that's smudged on it, little cracks, everything. That's your window, and you should appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Because you never know, and it's always going to be the only window you get. So, what other option? Unless you have an opportunity. I think that's what art does. Art allows you to kind of maybe see a different window every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Good art, anyway. That's the goal. But yeah. So let's keep reading these quotes. When knowing time is coming to an end, we appreciate things and look at things differently in a whole different way. Some just don't know when that time is. True.
That's good.
Reading does the same for me that acting does for you. Jamie Lee Carter, that's awesome. It lets you see things through another window. I love that. That's so true. That's one of the reasons why books are so important. Love that. I have to clean my window. But that, I don't know if you meant that as a joke or as a really deeply insightful thing, but it's both. It's a great joke and it's a greatly insightful thing. Some people have to clean my window. Clean your windows, Sarah All-Ego. I hope I said that right.
You see what Rita said?
What did Rita say? I missed it.
Some people look at life through a window, others through a door, but at the end, what matters is that you don't close them.
Rita, badass.
That was so badass. Could not have said that better myself. Dang, what does the quote speak to both of you the most? Ooh, that's a good question.
What is it?
What quote speaks to us like the most? What is your favorite quote, and what quote speaks to you the most?
For me, it was the window. For me, that last one was. Oh, let me look through, but I'm almost positive.
No, I think he's talking are you talking in general, or are you talking in the book? Because somebody asked about our favorite quotes in general.
Diego has a really good favorite quote. I don't remember what it is right now, but I know that when he first said it, he's like, "It's my favorite quote of all time."
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazingly respectable quote for a man to have as like his quote of life. I can't remember what it was. I wish he was on this live right now.
Damn it.
My favorite quote. What's your favorite quote, Jay?
Man. That's a tough one for me, man. Quotes are so meaningful in my life. I don't think I have a specific one. I think I have like multiple quotes that I turn to when I need that type of motivation in my life. So it could be a quote about love. It could be a quote about me following my dreams, or a quote about motivating, inspiring myself. So I think there's a multiple. One of my favorite quotes that's very simple is the one that I tweeted recently. The one about failure, fear has two meanings. So for me, that one kind of spoke to me. You remember you put it on your bio?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, you can either forget everything and run, or you can chase what you have to. So it's up to you.
One of my favorite quotes that I've recently started to see in action more and more. Diego brought it up to me when I talked to him about the documentary. He's been in Toronto for a few weeks editing, and him and I have been him and then Nick, awesome guy, Envy the Living. You guys should check him out. Mm-hmm. They all were like, I was talking to Diego. I was like, how do you know sometimes like what you're going to put in, what shot you're going to use? And he brought up this Stanley Kubrick quote. Say that 5 times fast. Stanley Kubrick quote. And the Kubrick quote was, I'm paraphrasing. I may not always know what I want, but I always know what I don't want. And that's super important, I think. Like in life, we feel like we should always know what we want, and I think that never happens. I never know what I want, but I always know what I don't want. And then when I choose to listen to that and when I choose not to is where things happen. Mm-hmm. Niner Girl's favorite fail. First attempt in learning. I love that. But yeah, for me, it's I may not always know what I want, whether it's who I am as a person, whether it's what I want to do with my life, whether it's I want to see someone, whether it's I want to do. I may not always know what I want, but I always know when I don't want to do something, when I don't want to be at that place, when I don't want to be with that person, when I don't want to eat that. Like, even little things. I always know what I don't want, and it's when I choose to accept that or not that it becomes.
Right. I actually know my favorite quote, but it's very long. It's by Theodore Roosevelt. Everybody should take a look at that one. I know which one is my favorite now.
What is it?
Okay, this is a long one. So
I'll pull it up if you want, or you have it pulled up.
I have it pulled up.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this is by Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows that in the end of triumph and high achievement, And who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that this place shall never know those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Read that last line again.
Which, who at the best in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory.
Read that one line again.
Which one?
The very end. If he fails.
Oh, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly.
At least he fails while daring greatly. Mm-hmm. I love that. Sorry, that's why I wanted to keep reading that.
Great, isn't it great? I love that quote, man. Oh.
And then what's about the cold and timid souls?
It's so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. How great of a quote is that?
Victory and defeat are two sides of the same coin. Right? Victory is just the opposite end, but there's valiance in achieving either side. I think that's something we're not taught. And that's something that I'm noticing more and more. It's not like cool to lose honorably and accept your defeat. Look at our president. To this day, he still feels the need to extrapolate on his victory as president.
Right.
He couldn't accept victory. I won. Okay, cool. Time to move forward. He still has to do it. I don't know why. I don't know where that insecurity is coming from. But I don't think that's the way you should. If you win with honor, valiance, integrity. And when you lose, you do the same. Why? Because that was a better person than you on that day. Jordan and I arm wrestle 100 times. I might beat him once, but that'll be once. I tried 99 times, but I beat him once, and then I guarantee you, he can make fun of me all he wants for that 90 time. I still have that one.
You still have that one.
I still have that one. All right, so thank you guys for joining today. I know we only have a few minutes left to kind of just wrap it up. So let's talk about our next reading challenge for the next part of the book. We read to about page 113. You should have read that last little passage on that page. Dickinson poem, success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed.
Oh, Oscar, I'm sorry. Oscar, what was your question?
All right, so while Oscar asks the question, we'll think about it. How many pages do we have left? Oh, guys, we're going to finish the book. All right, so next Saturday at noon, we will finish the book. And will someone remind us, what is our next book, please? After this book, what's the book after it?
Please.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for someone to say it.
Someone? Yes, another 7. Somebody say it. I don't know.
Come on, guys. What's the next book?
Oh,
Fahrenheit 451. There you go. Let me find my copy. Hold on one sec.
Oscar, what's your question? Or if we don't have time, just shoot me a DM, and I'll answer your question.
So, we will finish Tuesday with Maury for Saturday at noon. Finish the rest of the book. You're going to love it. Then, Fahrenheit 451. We will start this awesome adventure. I'm going to read the back of it for you guys real quick. Never mind, because this is not the right... it doesn't give me the right synopsis. So no, we're not going to do that. But, so next week we will discuss the rest of Tuesdays with Morning, and then we will also talk about when we start Fahrenheit 451. So start getting that book if you don't have it, and then start getting Catch-22 as well as the book we're going to read after it. So if you want to think those two books ahead. Thank you all for your time. Thank you guys for joining. Jordan, everyone give Jordan a little round of applause.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
For thinking
in.
Jordan, what's the date for next week, next Saturday?
I
think it's the 21st, but we'll see.
21st? Dude, where are you? Is it 21st?
I could be wrong.
January has flown by. I don't know where my phone is, man. Oh, I'm on it. Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm thinking I'm on my laptop, dude. Yeah, and that was on live. That's great. Nice. Everybody, clap it up for me. I'm a smart guy. Damn. I don't have a calendar on this. I don't know how the Mac works.
See, I have a calendar, but it's not coming up right now. Anyway, January the 21st, right?
The 20th.
It's the 20th. The 20th. All right, so January the 20th at noon on Saturdays. As you guys know, noon on Saturdays is our thing from now on. So noon, Saturday, we will talk about the rest of Tuesdays with Maury, and then we will discuss our next reading assignment, Fahrenheit 451. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you,
I
guys.
have to finish my breakfast. I hope today's book talk, I know it was a little different, but I believe our conversation was still like it's in the same energy field as Tuesdays with Maury, and that was my goal for this first talk. The second talk will be a little more in depth because we'll have read the entirety of the book, and it's an easy to really dive into. It's really good. So we'll do that next week. Thank you guys. Everyone have a great weekend. Everyone keep reading. Jordan, I'm going to FaceTime you in a minute. It's been a pleasure, guys. Until next time, keep reading, keep being awesome, keep being positive forces of change in your communities and world.
Mikey Bizzle in the house.
I got to text Dom, too.
Oh, yeah.
But all right. Peace, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Huh?
No, I'm telling everyone I'm going to save the live. Have a good one, guys.